Please be seated. Good morning. Welcome to the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and Public Health recognition ceremony. What a beautiful day. Despite the weather, it's warm and sunny inside here. And in this morning's celebration, we are honoring an outstanding group of new physicians, the class of 2013. Most of these young women and men came here 4 years ago from diverse backgrounds, from all over our great state, and indeed, from all over our great country. And each has contributed to the character of the class during their years here as our medical students. Every class develops its own unique culture while accelerating their journey as lifelong learners in the medical profession. And it has been a pleasure to watch you grow as individuals and also grow together as a class. Now we are sending you out to embrace the next vital stage in your professional development. I promise that you will find you are extremely well prepared to begin your residencies and complete your clinical training. We are confident that you will bring with you the blend of both the science and the art of medicine, which has been imbued during your years with us. I am joined this morning by honored guests, administrative leaders, faculty, and the chairs and representatives of all of the school's departments. Will members of the platform party please stand when I call your names and remain standing. Please hold your applause until everyone has been recognized. Seated in the first row, beginning on your left, is Dr. John Harding, Professor Emeritus, Department of Neuroscience, and Dr. James Conway, Associate Professor in the Department of Pediatrics. Doctors Conway and Harding have been selected by the class to participate in the investiture portion of today's ceremony. They are both deeply respected and inspirational teachers. Now, that's respected and inspirational, not mature necessarily. Next, Dr. Patrick McBride, Associate Dean for Students, who is also the president of the Wisconsin Medical Alumni Association. Dr. Robert Dempsey, our guest speaker, professor and chair of the Department of Neurological Surgery, and Dr. Byron Krause, Associate Dean for Rural and Community Health. Seated behind them, beginning on your left, is Dr. Elizabeth Petty, Senior Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Dr. Mark Dresner, Senior Associate Dean for Clinical and Translational Research, Dr. Susan Gelzer, Associate Dean for Graduate Medical Education, Dr. Jeffrey Grossman, Senior Associate Dean for Clinical Affairs and President and CEO of the UW Medical Foundation, Donna Caton-Behensky, President and CEO of UW Hospital and Clinics, Dr. Kurt Hansen, Assistant Dean for Admissions, Dr. Matthew Jensen, Associate Dean for our Marshfield Academic Campus, Dr. Umberto Tacchinardi, Associate Dean for Biomedical Informatics, Dr. Lori Weber, representing our Western Academic Campus. And now I would like to introduce the School of Medicine and Public Health Department chairs and representatives. In the first row, to the left of the stage, Dr. Robert Pierce, Chair, Department of Anesthesiology, Dr. Patricia Kiley, Chair, Department of Biomolecular Chemistry, Dr. Paul Rathaus, Chair, Department of Biostatistics and Medical Informatics, Dr. Daniel Greenspan, Interim Chair, Department of Cell and Regenerative Biology, Dr. Gary Wood, Chair, Department of Dermatology, Dr. Valerie Gilchrist, Chair, Department of Family Medicine, Dr. Paul Harari, Chair, Department of Human Oncology, Dr. Alan Loudon, representing the Department of Medical Genetics, Dr. Norman Faust, representing the Department of Medical History and Bioethics, Dr. Ned Ruby, representing the Department of Medical Microbiology and Immunology, Dr. James Zabzewski, Chair, Department of Medical Physics, Dr. Richard Page, Chair, Department of Medicine, Dr. Paul Rutecki, representing the Department of Neurology, Dr. Tom Yin, Interim Chair, Department of Neurosciences, Dr. Laurel Rice, Chair, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. Dr. James Scholl, Chair, Department of Oncology. Dr. Paul Anderson, representing the Department of Orthopedics and Rehabilitation. Dr. Andreas Friedel, Chair, Department of Pathology and Laboratory Medicine. Dr. Ellen Wald, Chair, Department of Pediatrics. Dr. Javier Nieto, Chair, Department of Population Health Sciences. Dr. Art Walazek, representing the Department of Psychiatry. Dr. Elizabeth Burnside, representing the Department of Radiology. Dr. Michael Bentz, representing the Department of Surgery. And Dr. Stephen Nakata, Chair, Department of Urology. Please join me in recognizing these distinguished institutional leaders. Thank you. Every class develops its own character, and the class of 2013 is no exception. We will remember these students as one of the most successful classes in the 106-year history of our school. You have performed exceptionally well, demonstrating excellence in academics as well as in service. Members of this class engaged in research at the National Institutes of Health, the Centers for Disease Control, the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and other leading research centers throughout the world, advancing our understanding of illness and health. This class participated in service learning experiences throughout the state and indeed around the globe. You have matched into a broad range of residencies in line with our school's mission of providing comprehensive care for all, with an emphasis on underserved populations. You will soon start your residency training at outstanding programs in Wisconsin and across the country, and we hope all of you will consider returning to Wisconsin at the conclusion of your residency training. This class will be remembered for your support of your school, your community, and each other. You were there when a classmate needed you. You taught each other as well as your faculty, and your enthusiasm and commitment have enriched our school's environment. This bodes well for your future, as you will have increasing opportunities to come together in partnership with your colleagues and with your patients as you teach and learn from each other. I hope you have come to appreciate that being a student and being a teacher are two sides of the same coin. This is why the people you see on this platform and to the side, and indeed all of your honored teachers, are so dedicated to academics. But regardless of whether you pursue careers in academics, in community practice, or in any of the myriad settings that will be available to you, please remember that teaching and learning are lifelong opportunities and indeed responsibilities in the field of medicine. Now, for most of you, your journey together at the School of Medicine and Public Health started in the summer of 2009 when you joined us as brand new medical students. Over the ensuing years, you took full advantage of the many well-established opportunities that form the fundamental foundation of our school. This included our student-run clinic, MEDIC, the Healthy Classrooms program that was started by medical students and continues to be run by our health sciences students. Our dual degree options, including our MD-PhD and MD-MPH programs. WARM and Triumph, our rural and urban training tracks, which focus on underserved populations. And world-class research laboratories and programs that cover the full spectrum of discovery, from basic to clinical to population sciences. But even as you entered well-established programs and traditions, you simultaneously entered an era of unprecedented change. Indeed, despite your sharp focus on your studies and your patients, I am sure you noticed the changes that were occurring all around you. In the past 4 years, your university has been led by 2 different chancellors and is now prepared to welcome a third in July. After a drought of several years, our Badger football team drank in 3 consecutive Rose Bowl appearances. Never mind the outcome. If only they had emulated our school's performance in the Dean's Cup, where our medical students defeated their law school colleagues in 3 of the past 4 years. At the same time, more profound and meaningful changes were taking place, which will have enormous impact on the way you serve your patients and your communities. The Affordable Care Act will change the way healthcare is delivered and financed in our country in ways that are not yet entirely clear. Here in Wisconsin, our state's approach to meeting the needs of underserved populations has varied to a substantial degree during your years in medical school and has not settled yet on a clearly defined permanent course. Entire new concepts, as well as some not so new but rather recycled and refined ideas, are rapidly emerging. New terminology such as Accountable Care Organization, or ACOs, have suddenly become part of the ABCs of healthcare language. With all of these moving parts, what does the future hold? Now, in general, it is foolhardy to succumb to the temptation to predict the future at an event such as this one. For example, the Literary Digest predicted in 1899, in reference to the evolving popularity of the automobile, that, quote, "This carriage with no horses is just a luxury for the wealthy, and even if the price decreases in the future, it will never be as popular as the bicycle." While I can't offer you the solace of a predictable future for the practice of medicine, I can provide you with some reassurances. First, even as healthcare continues its unpredictable evolution, several key aspects of your professional lives will not change. No matter what type of organization or setting or system you practice in, the primacy of the doctor-patient relationship will always be the cornerstone of all that you do. Second, you are well prepared, more so than earlier generations of physicians, to focus on both the patient and the population, and to appreciate the importance of disease prevention as well as its diagnosis and treatment. Third, our country's investment in research and discovery, which hopefully will continue despite the challenges of the current phase of our economic cycle, will reap unimaginable benefits for your patients and for your capacity to care for them into the future. And finally, the principles of professionalism and health ethics, which have been emphasized throughout your training here, and which you will publicly embrace in just a moment later in the ceremony, will serve as the enduring and illuminating guideposts throughout your journey into the still hazy future of medicine. So embrace the brave new world of medicine. Rise to the challenge of leadership in shaping its evolution, and share my confidence in your ability, energy, talent, and training. And you never know, maybe someday during your career, the bicycle will once again compete with the horseless carriage for popular use. Now it is a great privilege for me to introduce Dr. Robert Dempsey. Our speaker is selected by the graduating class. I am personally delighted that you recommended Dr. Dempsey for this great honor. Robert J. Dempsey, MD, is the Manouchehr Javed Professor and Chair of the Department of Neurologic Surgery at the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and Public Health. He specializes in cerebrovascular surgery and has extensive experience in the neurosurgical management of intracranial aneurysms, vascular malformations of the brain, and brain tumors. He is a nationally recognized expert on carotid endarterectomy. Currently, Dr. Dempsey has multiple NIH-funded research projects with a focus on cerebral ischemia and the repair of the injured brain. He has published over 200 scientific articles on these subjects. He has been a principal investigator of grants from the NIH, the Veterans Administration, and the American Heart Association, leading a group of neurosurgeons and scientists dedicated to improving patient care. In 2007, he was named principal editor for basic science for the prestigious journal Neurosurgery, the largest circulation medical journal in that field. Dr. Dempsey is an educator and a mentor of medical students, residents, and fellows worldwide. He has twice been awarded the Clinical Teaching Award by UW students. He has been a visiting professor at multiple colleges and is presently the course co-director of research update in neuroscience for neurosurgeons. He is also an officer of the major organizations involved in neurosurgical education, both in the United States and internationally. In recognition of more than 20 years of service, teaching, and clinical care in developing countries worldwide, he received the Humanitarian Award from the American Association of Neurological Surgeons. So my compliments to the class of 2013 for your wisdom in selecting Dr. Dempsey to deliver the last lecture you will receive as students at the School of Medicine and Public Health. Dr. Dempsey.
Thank you, Dean Golden, and thank you, graduates. It's a great honor. This is a wonderful day. As a teacher, I've always said that of all the days of the year, this is the best one. And the reason is because of your great accomplishment, not you, but you all, your extended family, and that you share it with us, your teachers. And that inspires me. And what I want to talk about today is about inspiring doctors. But first, I have a teacher's confession to make. Front row, who remembers the Krebs cycle? That's okay, I don't either. As a matter of fact, they don't either up here. Back row, remember all those mnemonics you memorized to help you get through anatomy? I'm sorry, but in the OR, they're worthless. So this is a bit of a problem for a teacher. What were these last 4 years about? I guarantee you they weren't about mnemonics. You thought that you were coming here to be taught medicine. Well, Oscar Wilde said that nothing worth truly knowing could be taught, and he may be partially true. Look at other fields. Look at politics. Arguably our greatest president, and certainly our most eloquent, Abraham Lincoln, was our least educated. Scholars think he had 6 months of total formal education. So what is this about? Well, I'll argue it's not about memorization. What the last 4 years have been inspiring you to discover yourselves this art we call doctoring. It's really what Yeats called lighting a fire inside you, not filling a pail. Now, it might seem odd to have a neurosurgeon talk about doctoring. The egos on neurosurgeons usually are so large they don't allow students to cross the hall with them. But I'll argue that that wheelbarrow of ego is something I've worked 40 years now to discover the true art of doctoring. And it is a continual study, and I hope it never ends for me or you. But along the way, I've picked up a few lessons, very, very simple lessons, I want to share with you today that maybe will help you understand how you work to become a doctor. They're very simple. The first is, great doctors are in love with what they do. Your college classmates are now calling you and saying, you work too hard, your hours are too long, don't ever believe them. I don't care if it's me taking a brain tumor out of a child in sub-Saharan Africa, or my colleagues working to keep a mutant bacteria from becoming the next world plague, or a generation of doctors that work to empower their patients to take control of their health against the modern scourges of obesity and diabetes. To do that, you must be fully engaged. And when you realize it's the patient before you, you are fully engaged, and you must be. As students, you've observed, you've practiced, and you've been protected. But from this day forward, doctors, what a wonderful term you've earned, doctors, people will put in your hands their lives, their future, and their very happiness. You must be fully engaged. Second lesson, great doctors are creative. I want you to be very proud of everything you've learned, every technique, every procedure, every knowledge base, and I want you to be totally dissatisfied with them. Because when you see your first patient, you'll understand that what we do today for Alzheimer's, for cancer, for diabetes is totally inadequate. I do not want you to treat me with the techniques of my professors. I do not want you to treat my children with the techniques I teach you. I want you to surpass me. I want you to be agents of disruptive change. And you must be creative, and you must change this field. And this is true in every field. Look at music. At one time, American music was dominated by a man named King Oliver. He was wealthy beyond his wildest dreams, powerful beyond his wildest dreams, but he mentored a reform school boy, gave him a cornet, and when Louis Armstrong played, music was never the same. And he surpassed the teacher, and we have forgotten that teacher, and that's okay for teachers. You see, I need you to not be afraid to do research, whether it's DNA or outcomes research, because your patients must be treated better than the way we treat them now. And you can do this. I have no special training, I have no PhD, but I will soon have my 30th year of NIH funding, because when I go to my clinic, my patients say, "How's your research going, Doc?" Because they know I'm working on their problem. Second lesson, great doctors are creative. Be proud of what you do, make it better at every step. Third lesson, great doctors are teachers. Now, do you even know what the word doctor means? It's from the Latin docere, for teacher. You must teach your patients every day, and a teacher understands. It's not about what the teacher said. It's not about, I covered that material. You've heard that. It's about what the student heard, what the student understood. It's about what the patient understands, if you want them to take control of their health. I cannot tell a patient I'm going into their brain, fixing a leaking blood vessel, and coming back out and expect them to trust me unless I can find a way for them to understand and trust. And it's not just about teaching patients. It's about teaching yourselves as well. If you want to change it, you must continually learn. You must continually teach. And you must teach your colleagues. This was made so clear to me by one person, one time point, one place, a rare gift. I was working in the mountains of Guatemala many years ago during their civil war. I had seen some 100 patients that day, and when I finished, I went to the courtyard. I saw a beautiful girl selling fruit. I got permission to photograph her, and I stare at that picture every day. Because that day I said, who will care for her when she becomes sick and I am not here? And that day I became a teacher of doctors. Because you see, we all need you to go to places we will never go, to care for people we will never meet. And in doing so, those people will teach you. Next great lesson. Great doctors have integrity. Well, this is simple, of course. We all know about Schweitzer. We know about Paul Farmer. We know about a man named Lincoln who fought to his death for the rights of man, in spite of the fact that as a youth he himself was attacked by slaves. But I'm not talking about icons. I'm talking about the true definition of integrity. It's from the Latin word for whole. You show integrity when you take care of the whole patient. You do not take care of their brain and forget their heart, their kidney, or their social concerns, or their very access to medical care. You show integrity when you include all of that in your doctoring. And when you do, you make me proud, because you treat patients that you've never known for us. And more importantly, you treat yourself. If integrity is about the whole person, how do you maintain the whole person? Because believe me, that whole person is the most important part of the final great lesson. And that great lesson is great doctors are great people. They actually like people. It's what it was always about all the time. I've never seen it work the other way around. Because you see, how do you remain human? How do you remain that whole person? How do you remain true to those values that brought you to medical school in the first place? In a world of corruption, bureaucracy, politics, and greed. Be very, very aware of greed, the greatest threat. Well, for me, it's you have to have a value system. You have to have your own personal value system and be true to it and measure against that everything you do, everything you try. It should be individual for you, but for me it's three things: faith, family, and patience. And by faith I mean it could be a formal, it could be informal, it could be a moral code. But it's a way finding, a way to find the path, to make sense of a world where in Boston people lay bombs at children's feet. But what sustained me was in the next moment, medical personnel rushed into the blast field knowing it was multiple bombs with police telling them there must be a third. That inspires me. That gives me faith. Family, it can be very traditional or very non-traditional. It can be a family of colleagues, but these are the people you confide in. These are the people you're safe with. These are the people that make you laugh. You hold them dear and you never do anything to lose them. And patience. They're the people that bring it all into focus. When you show the service and recognition of them, they become your best teachers. They're the ones that inspire you to create, to teach, to develop your whole person, and to be in love with what you do. I still believe in the essential goodness of men and women. It's always been about how you treat people, isn't it? I mean patience. I mean the cleaning lady you pass every day. I mean the CEO. You treat them all by taking time to listen, to recognize them, to make sure they understand. Because when you do, you inspire me. You're entering the greatest of all professions, doctoring. It's what Harvey Cushing called the divine vocation of doctoring. Now you go now and inspire others every day. Be that teacher. Create that better world for patients unknown, and show that you've earned that title of teacher, and show how it is you came today to earn this honorific title, doctore or doctor. Congratulations, and thank you so much for inspiring me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dempsey. The graduates of 2013 have selected one of their classmates, Gabe Behrens, to speak on their behalf. Gabe?
All right. What an honor to be here, Dr. Dempsey. What great words of inspiration. It's an honor to follow you. What a great day. What an achievement. What an honor to be standing here in front of such an amazing group of people. And to you guys, I'm not quite sure if I'm the person you think I am. I'm just a Wisconsin extrovert who loves to mountain bike, find adventure with his family. I'm truly humbled and honored to be standing up here right now. So thank you. In fact, I think I'll have dreams for a good long time that I didn't actually graduate from medical school. I'll get a letter in the mail someday saying, oops, you weren't actually supposed to be accepted in the first place. I know they'll figure me out someday. You can only hold the wool over people's eyes for so long. I distinctly remember my interview day here. What an incredible day. Amazing group of people. We were on the second floor of the HSLC. And Dr. Burdix, God rest his soul, or whoever was supposed to introduce us and welcome us that day, was late, so they invited us to go around and introduce yourself to everybody. I, being me, didn't hesitate to get the ball rolling. I told of my theology major, my time living in South America, the fact that I was managing an outdoor retail store and a proud husband and father. Then the rest of the room filled in their bios. Physician's assistants, lawyers, Division I college athletes, midwives, researchers. The only other bearded applicant was a classically trained vocalist who'd spent the last couple of years in the Portland Opera. I was slack-jawed. Then came my first day at the HSLC. There was a warm symposium for the Wisconsin Academy of Rural Medicine, a group I'm proud to be part of. To open the day, there was a presentation for introduction and a PowerPoint. And one of the first slides was a map of the state of Wisconsin with everybody's hometown indicated with a dot. Oddly enough, my hometown of La Crosse did not have a dot. I've been looking over my shoulder ever since. But here I am, right? I know we all have interesting backstories on how we got here, and we should. It is not easy sitting in these seats. My story actually begins in a Walmart parking lot as most good stories should. I needed to run an errand for the outdoor store that I was working at. My wife, Annie, went along with me. It was about 5 weeks after we got married, and we just found out earlier that day that we were going to have a baby. A baby that was not entirely in the plans. I had yet to take reproductive endocrinology. Didn't quite get that whole thing. At that point, I was finishing up my pre-med classes at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, and had yet to even apply to medical school. The concept of both being a father and a medical student individually were so daunting, such foreign ideas, that putting them together seemed utterly impossible. I suggested to Annie that maybe I should just go to PA school instead, still be a clinician, but only 3 years to a paycheck. She looked at me and said, "You are going to medical school." Not in a compassionate cheerleader, I believe in you sort of way, but more in a don't you dare think about messing up our life plans more than you already have sort of way. This was the beginning of our family deciding to not take life sitting down. Our son Eddie was just over a year old when I started at Madison. I was anxious, sort of like I am right now, and wanted to be part of my son's life, but I also wanted to succeed at medical school. I didn't know if those things were mutually exclusive. My wife and I decided to try and have lunch together as a family as often as we could. She would bring Eddie and a cold lunch for the three of us to the atrium of the HSLC every day. I think in the first 18 months of medical school, we had lunch together about 98% of the time. It was amazing. What was equally amazing is that we never ate lunch alone. Anyone and everyone was welcome to join our circus. It was more than a lunch. It facilitated meeting people and understanding them on new and different levels. Turns out 1-year-olds are great catalysts for bringing people out of themselves. And soon, our son Eddie had a troop of people that can best be described as wonderful aunts and uncles. And Annie and I had what undoubtedly will be lifelong friendships with many of you. You know, the concept of who you are as a person is really a reflection of the people that surround you. This is absolutely the case here. We as a class are talented, we are warm, we're welcoming, we're caring, we are fearless. Oh, and we love kids. How many of our class have kids right now or are soon going to have kids? It's an incredible number. Can we see some hands here? That's impressive. That's a huge accomplishment. We also, as a class, established taking care of meals for those needing them in the first few weeks after the baby was born. An email would go out to the whole class saying, so-and-so just had a baby, and here are the times that are needed for a meal. So sign up. And we did. When my second son, Bennett, was born in March of my second year, those meals made the difference between surviving the day and enjoying the day. This also says something about the culture of the institution that we're a part of. I'm sure when many of you came here for your first interview day, I bet a lot of you didn't exactly know where Madison, Wisconsin was. It was bitterly cold that winter day, I'm sure. I know there was snow on the ground that winter. And probably as you're marching around in your power suit saying all the right things to that pleasant yet reserved interviewer, maybe you're thinking in the back of your mind, gosh, I hope I get into that school in California. But for one reason or another, you picked here. We all picked here. And what a blessing for each of us. But also for this institution that we did. We chose to be Badgers. There's something special about the Midwest. There's something special about Wisconsin. There's something special about being a Badger. It is proven that there's something special in the water here, that the combination of Midwestern humility, Wisconsin confidence, Badger tenacity have created an institution where at the core of everything it does works tirelessly to train incredibly talented and diverse people to care for other people. From our first day, our first year here, we were dealing with people. There were some standardized patients, but there were also real people with real disease. But their pathology was not the focus. It was them, and it was their stories, their lives. Their humanity was the focus. The reason that we work as hard as we have and as hard as we will through the rest of our lives, residencies and careers, is for those people. Speaking of working hard, do you ever think back to second year? Think of the tolerance for sitting and reading that you developed. How many hours were spent in Ebling, the HSLC small group rooms, reading, memorizing, quizzing each other, writing on whiteboards? What an accomplishment that was. Maybe not your proudest feat, but think of what it prepared you for. Not only did it lay a foundation of medical knowledge, but it proved a fundamental point of tenacity. When our friends and family ask me about the long hours that a doctor trains and works, it is fundamentally these marathon sessions that prove what we're capable of. I know that we're young and weak with our restrictions, but we'll be needing all of that endurance in the next several years of our training. Our education is not limited to lectures and study, nor was it summed up in stereotyped one-liners about our experiences of our third and fourth year clerkships. But we've worked hard. We survived surgery and psych, primary care and peds, OB and neuro. Each of these, while exhilarating and life-changing for some of us, were a drudgery, a penance to be endured for others. But these are the stories that we'll be telling each other, our family, our friends, for the rest of our lives. These are the stories that we're celebrating this weekend before we scatter to our separate residency programs. But each of us can recall patients, staff, attendings, someone from any day of our education who was a model for us. Now, I don't need to sit up here trying to recount unified experiences that we all shared, like the first cuts on our cadavers first year, the laughter and learning of second year, the palpable dread and anxiety that is the TSA shakedown of medical school exams, the first incision that we made in surgery, or the first baby that we caught, calmly trying to deliver that darn anterior shoulder. All of those experiences are far too individual, far too personal for some guy who spent way too much time in western Wisconsin to try and sum up for each of you. The reality is, with this exceptional statewide campus that we have, none of us had a typical medical school experience. We each had our own experience. But what unites us is the fact that we have trained, we have learned to see, we have learned to speak, we have learned to feel as a doctor while training in this same culture. Midwest humble, Wisconsin courageous, Badger tenacious. Even if you did medicine in Rice Lake, OB in Milwaukee, neuro in Green Bay, or surgery here in Madison, each location there were attendings and fellows, residents, who showed us how to listen to our patients, advocate for our patients, fight for our patients. They showed us to be confident, examining the literature, finding the best course of treatment, to fight pathology while humbly holding the hand of the patient who knows they are getting the best care anywhere in the world. As some of you know, my wife Annie was diagnosed with stage 2 thyroid cancer last February. Over the course of the last 15 months, it has been a strange privilege to get to see exceptional medicine from the side of the patient. I'll never forget what one of the surgery residents said to us while we were at the very beginning stages of understanding what we were dealing with. Remember, he said, that if something goes wrong or is not exactly as you expected, it's our problem, not yours. All you need to do is trust us and believe that we'll care for you with everything that we have. It'd be almost impossible to believe that statement if there were not the undercurrent, the palpable feeling of compassion and conviction that is felt the moment one walks through those hospital doors. After Annie's surgery was estimated to last about 4 hours and ended up taking about 8, she told me how humbling it was to have a surgeon, Dr. Sipple, who we all know, who would tirelessly fight for her life and her well-being as hard as Annie would herself. It takes courage to be a doctor, but it also takes courage to be a patient. Last Friday, Annie had her 1-year scan, and I was not able to be there with her. But from what I can tell, there may be no better place to contemplate one's morality than an imaging tube and a radiology suite at a medical facility. For this particular scan, Annie's arms were strapped to her sides, and the head-to-toe scan took about 40 minutes. It could be a long 40 minutes. About halfway through the scan, Annie's technician came up, asked her how she was doing. Annie stoically said, "Great," but quickly added with a quiver in her voice that she was pretty nervous. The technician looked at the computer image of Annie's scan thus far and said, "Well, I've been doing this a long time, and I see nothing here that we don't expect to see from any healthy person." As you can imagine, there are a few emotional tears coming down from the corners of Annie's eyes. The technician looked back at Annie, and with her thumb, she tenderly wiped away those tears, lowered her voice, and said, "You're doing great. We'll have to confirm that, of course, but trust me, you're doing great." What this institution is, it's the difference between perfecting a technique and sustaining a life. This is your home. So in a few weeks, when you walk through the hospital doors of your new residency and you feel terrified because you'll actually be responsible for the life and well-being of your patients, remember your roots. You are Midwest humble. You are Wisconsin courageous. You are Badger tenacious. On Wisconsin. Forward.
Thank you so much, Gabe. It's now a pleasure to introduce Dr. Byron Krause, Associate Dean for Rural and Community Health, who will administer the Declaration of Geneva. Dr. Krause?
The class will now take the Declaration of Geneva as their solemn oath. This is printed on the back of your program. Will the class of 2013 please rise and repeat after me? At the time of being admitted as a member of the medical profession, I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I will give to my teachers the respect and gratitude that is their due. I will practice my profession with conscience and dignity. The health of my patient will be my first consideration. I will respect the secrets that are confided in me, even after the patient has died. I will maintain by all the means in my power in the honor and the noble traditions of the great medical profession. My colleagues will be my sisters and brothers. I will not permit considerations of age, disease, or disability. Creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation. Race, sexual orientation, social standing, or any other factor to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life. I will not use my medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor. Congratulations, doctors.
Thank you, Dr. Kraus. Will the class please be seated? We have now come to the investiture portion of the ceremony. Doctors McBride, Conway, and Harding, please come forward. Dr. McBride, will you please present the candidates for graduation?
Dean Golden and distinguished faculty, I present the following candidates for the conferral of the degree Doctor of Medicine. Will the class of 2013 please come forward to receive their recognition? Cassandra Lynn Albertin. William Victor Albiero. Venita Marie Alexander. Diane Marie Anderson. Erica Andrest. Erin Laura Aufderheide. John Tukunbo Abowale. Mary Elizabeth Bassick. Double Benulis. Gonzalo Baranaga. Allison Marie Bauer. Lane Burnett Bennis. Congratulations. Lee Ann Barra. Gabriel Thomas Behrens. Jade Micah Best. Marcus William Bickford. Lisa Marie Block. Jessica Ann Boland. What? Give me the full name. Christine Sato Batsik. Stephanie Lynn Booms. Alice Marielle Bashovin. Benjamin Donald Brush. Shannon Taylor Smith Cannon. Take your time. Holly Ann Coretta Wire. Give me the full name. Amanda Kristen Carlson. What's your middle name? Peter Potel Chen. Susie Z. Chen. Congratulations. Emily Jane Ciccone. Tough one, Zach. I don't know if I know you. It's a tough one. Yeah. I'm kidding. Zachary James Clark. Nicholas Edward Kura. You're looking really distinguished here. Adam Richard Coughlin. Fat Tan Dang. Omar Nebalali Demirdash. Jonathan Ross Dickman. Scott Clark Dolace. Congratulations. Distinguished there. Ryan James Drake. Congratulations. Ima Sumac Duchicella Tanner. Sean Michael Duffy. Pretty spiffy there. Edward Walter Dunbar. Kelly Renee Egan. Karush Joshua Elihu. The moment has arrived. Enjoy the walk. Rachel Marie Ellis. James Jacob Enser. David John Finnessy. Kayla Marie Flores. David Michael Francis. Travell Juanis Franklin Ford Ellis. Go slow so your mom can cry more. Benjamin Henry Gurn. Andrew Thomas Gerstner. David Michael Helverson. Tracy Ann Hansen. Keith Albert Hansen. Andrew John Henn. Melissa K. Hitty. Natalie Newlyn Tett. Heidi Rochi Huang. Jacqueline Susan Israel. Christopher Craig Johnson. Take your time. Enjoy the walk. Andrea Nicole Jones. Diana Khatib. Daehee Kim. Lydia R. Kim. Christopher James Clayfish. Congratulations. Angela Kathleen Kleiber. Congratulations. Lisa Louise Clecius. Sarah May Kloiber. Samuel Ying Ko. Congratulations. Nicole Kristen Cornder. Thank you. Congratulations. Michelle M. Kosmalski. Christina Marie Kraninger. Caitlin Andrea Kristoviak. Carly Ann Keene. David Rajendra Kumar. Kira Dawn Labby. Eric Carl Lansness. Cammie Joe Larson. Travis Beck Lauder. Eric R. Leyendecker. Michael Nathan Levine. Susie Shoei Lin. Well done. Lee Anthony Lindstroth. Jason Youngwen Liu. Andrew Tillotson Livermore. Big moment. Heather Ariel Hawk Lucolio. Jay Lu. Laura B. Lynch. Anitha Mentha. You betcha. Angel Francisco Matos. Congratulations. Lisa Marie Maurer. Trevor Fuller McCown. Catherine Mary McManus. Congratulations, Emily. Emily Helen Mittling. Good. Apesh Nair Mohandas. Clinton Travis Morgan. Philip Allen Mudd. Jonathan Paul Myers. Arian Nasiri. Congratulations. Enjoy your walk. Tanya Ray Newman. Well done. Kevin Tung Chi Win. Ashley Rose Neeson. Jessica Mary Novak. Kristen Ann Ojamo. Jeremiah Raymond Olson. Enjoy the walk. Enjoy the walk. And don't do that. Michael Current Olson. Enjoy your walk. Well earned. Dayton Michael Opal. Kara Christine Petrashek. Enjoy this walk. Erica Nicole Petke. Traman Wan Fan. Well done. Enjoy your walk. Take your time. Sean Patrick Polster. Elizabeth Ann Prangy.
Hey, Raj.
Rajesh. Rajesh Rangarajan. Kristen Marie Rauerdink. David Lee Rebedu. Catherine Jean Rebedu. Nice and slow. Enjoy it. Erin Linda Reddy. Andrew James Redmond. Michael Francis Regner. Joshua Christian Reiter. Catherine Elizabeth Reimer. Enjoy your walk. Enjoy it. Keisha Denise Rogers. Enjoy your walk. Here you are. Here you are. Awesome. Monica Wall Rosen. Sheila Coker Roy. Enjoy your walk. Therese Elizabeth Rudy. Melissa Ann Sands. Catherine Ann Sarnoski. Dean Matthew Sayer. Allison Johanna Schaus. Great middle name. Travis Patrick Schmidt. Oh boy, that's a reach. No problem. Joshua Paul Schulist. Jenna Kathleen Sabronic. Jessica Emily Shackman.
Enjoy your walk.
Walker B. Shapiro.
Over here.
Narek Sheverdian. Yuyu Linyan Shu. Malini Soundarajan. Megan Michelle Steiner Everson. Margaret Mary Steinmetz.
What do you want to? Okay. Got to get that middle name.
Krista Jean Stewart.
Congratulations.
Corey James Stingle. Ian McLeod Stormont. Christopher Son Strauss.
Awesome.
Michael Stephen Strupp. Rihanna Rachel Sundick.
Hey, congratulations. You look awesome.
Nadia Kaur Sundless. Caitlin Elizabeth Sundling.
Hey, man, congratulations. You're very scholarly. Look at the scholarly.
Jeffrey David Swick. Joshua Yates Taylor. Sanait Tesfai Barker. Jessica Sue Tischendorf. Matthew Tan Trong. Beth Allen Vander Wielen. Sergei Vysotsky. Julie Beth Wastebrand. I hope he doesn't. Emily Rebecca Walls. No more hoods? Chris is looking. Uh-oh. I think they're getting more. Natalie Ann Weisensell. Sarah Ann Wernemont. We got plenty now. Eric Paul Wiesner. Anna Lai Yan. Mai Yang. Jasmine Ivan Zupata. Carly Joe Zeal. Ans Bidri Jolin. Dean Golden.
Thank you, Drs. McBride, Conway, and Harding, and thank you, students who stepped up to the plate when there was a bit of a temporary shortfall. We will see what we can do about perhaps making some arrangements for delaying your first night of on-call. It is now a pleasure to reintroduce Dr. Patrick McBride, class of 1980, and a familiar face here today as always, President of the Medical Alumni Association, and in that regard will share some thoughts with you. Dr. McBride.
Congratulations, doctors. Welcome to the Wisconsin Medical Alumni Association. Doesn't that sound funny? For 4 years, for all these events that the WMAA has sponsored, you've been on the receiving end. And now, you are a member. Yeah. Speaking for the faculty and alumni, we're so proud of you and for the hard work that it took to get to today. We're also very grateful to all your family and friends for sharing you with us and for all their support. On a personal note, it's been my extraordinary privilege to support and accompany you on your journey. And what an interesting journey it's been. The class of 2013 has been so supportive of the school and university, and we're so grateful for the many ways that you make us better. You now join over 12,000 members of the Wisconsin Medical Alumni Association. The WMAA has been with you through orientation, the white coat ceremony in the fall of 2009, and all the way through today's graduation. The WMAA has connected you to alumni through Operation Education, shadowing, the Alumni Host Program, exam food, luncheons, student groups, social activities, T-shirts, match day, today's recognition celebration, and so much more. We are actively working on scholarships for our students and many more initiatives to support our students and alumni. The WMAA has a few more gifts for you before you go. First, good news for you that last year we passed a resolution there'll be no more dues for membership. So that's one more free gift. And after this ceremony, please stop by the table at the reception area to pick up your gift and a free membership pin. And as Dr. Burdix, who we miss so much, would remind us to stay, but wait, there's more. I keep that phrase on my desk to remind myself to live my life more fully like he did. And I hope you will too. In this case, with your graduation, it's true. You have so much more ahead of you. Not just the small gifts from us, but the many gifts that you have garnered from family, your friends, the community, and the people at the School of Medicine and Public Health, the many faculty and staff who have left an imprint on you and prepared you for your next step. We know you're ready. Make us proud. We hope you'll stay connected to the School of Medicine and Public Health and to the WMAA. Here's some ways that you can stay connected, support our students and our organization. Please keep us up to date on what you're doing. Send us news for the quarterly. We can never fill that section of news on our alumni. Be sure that the WMAA has your address so we can stay connected. Encourage your classmates to be connected in the WMAA. We're always looking for class reps. Consider hosting a student who is interviewing for residency as part of the Alumni Host Program. Host a reception for your alumni in your community. Friend the WMAA on Facebook. I'm the only one that hits like, it turns out, so please do that. Stop in and visit when you're in town. We really appreciate you stopping in, bringing in your kids, stopping in our office. Every time there's a kid in the office, all the staff comes out of their offices. We want to hear about your successes in the future and let others know how you're doing. And please come back for alumni events. We will invite you back for Alumni Weekend in the spring and Homecoming in the fall. So please stay connected to it with us. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on this important accomplishment. Welcome to the WMAA and our alumni family, and best wishes for a happy, healthy, and successful future in medicine and on Wisconsin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat. Well, we have come to the close of our ceremony. I invite you to join us for a reception co-sponsored by the Medical Alumni Association and the School of Medicine and Public Health. The reception will be held outside of this building on the terrace. We do ask that you remain in your seats until the conclusion of the recessional. Now I would like to ask the class of 2013 to stand and please face the audience. Now, in addition to recognizing our medical student graduates this morning, we would also like to recognize everyone here who has helped them achieve their success. Will the parents of the class please stand and be recognized? And also grandparents, and spouses and siblings, other family members, friends and teachers, faculty and staff. I know that the class joins me in thanking you for all you have done to help them complete this wonderful journey. So again, please be seated, class. Congratulations to the graduates of the class of 2013, and best wishes for continued success on Wisconsin.